Good morning, world. Some people call me poet, some people call me prophet. My presentation name is not for sale, because if God gave this man, you can't put a price on it. Take all them names, throw them away. They don't mean anything. The only name I want you in the platform is the character of Jesus, the knowledge of the universe and God, and that's the names I want you to remember when I leave. Now, this morning, I want to share a piece of truth about me, because I was a very, back in my days, and like I told you, when I minister, I'm not going to be pointing my finger, or how you see people pointing their fingers at me. I'm gonna show you the bad parts of my life and where my ignorance and my blindness was, so hopefully that you can come out of that if you're caught in those same situations. And I was a very selfish person when I was young. You understand what I'm saying? Very selfish. And God has put some things in my heart. You understand what I'm saying? And like I told you, everything I do is original. Okay? So it's a part of who I am. And let me share something with you. Sowing and reaping. I tell people this, sowing and reaping. I can take you someplace and you have people still sitting in the same houses of establishment, waiting on God to send a blessing. They've been there years and years and they haven't seen anything show up. And I'm going to open the doorway for you this morning and show you why these things are happening. This is just what I'm called to do. I'm like the missing piece. You understand what I'm saying? And so, if God tells you, listen, he said, I want you to meet me up on Broadway Junction. And your blessing's going to be sitting there. See, now that's too easy. God's not going to do that. Because his purpose is to conform you into his image. So anytime that you're trying to get somewhere, when you go around the lessons, that's why people are still standing still. But the whole point is this. You got some things in life called blessing beacons. You understand what I'm saying? This is why you have to cultivate the love of God in your heart. You know what I'm saying? And the way that it's cultivated is by loving the unlovable. You know, until they get to a place till they want to destroy your message and everything, then you got to slip them away. But anyways, I was down in Fort Lauderdale, well, not Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Florida. And there was a guy on the corner, and he was standing out there. He had on I forget what you call those people. But anyways, he had a type of like a mental illness. And he was standing in the corner, and he had on a suit with a bow tie on it. He was just standing there like this saying, Jesus, 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 Jesus. Jesus, 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 Jesus. Jesus, 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 Jesus. And while I walked past the man, because I know I've seen people stand on the corner and preach, but this man had this big bucket. I'm talking about a huge bucket with nothing but $5 bills in it. And so the particular person that I was with at that time, I asked him, I said, well, he don't preach or nothing? And the person, this is another one of it, he said, he's what you call a blessing beacon. I told him, I said, what is that? He said, sometimes God will place people in your life, and when you sow into those people, your breakthrough will open up. You understand what I'm saying? So at the particular time, I had a friend of mine that was in the hospital, and they had went into a stroke, and they didn't not a stroke, but a coma. And he was in the coma at the time, and so the guy told me, he said, well, look, he says, if you sow into that man, he said, if you ask God for something, he said, he will send you that breakthrough, but you got to put in $5. I told him, I said, well, I can't put in one. He said, this is what he said, you got to put in 5. So I stepped out in faith and I put in 10, right? Do you know that about 15 to 20 minutes later, I got a phone call? And do you know that person had came out of that coma? They're called blessing beacons. And Now, the blessing beacon that I had ran into, my personal life, is like when I was on the train. And God has given me this, and I'm going to share it to you in a form of poetry so you understand what I'm saying. And I know you guys have all met the same beacon. If paper money wasn't the focus, this man didn't want to hear it all. Shallowness had become my own substance. My existence was doing a spiritual crawl. Now, if kindness was the payment, I would have fed you back in them days. If courage was the entry, this man would have turned and walked away. But to find the goodness in this world, you got to start paying attention close, because faith is the very substance that I found in this heavenly host. In the direst of conditions, it cannot be moved or shook. And the heart of this individual, well, let's go close. Let's take a look. Now, the first thing I found in that man's heart were long extended hands. Please, please. He was asking, but he was actually putting back the kindness, goodness, hope in every man. And when this person entered the train and he asked me with a plea, I should have took this hand and stuck it in that man's heart, because God was cultivating me. Just when I thought I helped that poor beggar by the plea of my little paper wealth, you his faith, kindness, goodness, and hope. When you look at the eyes of Jesus, you're actually receiving from God himself. In Romans chapter 8, verse 28 through 32 says it short. And this is a paraphrase. See, it doesn't matter what a man's situation, circumstance is in his life. It ain't what that man had in his sin or what he going through. It's what Jesus did to bring us all back down the other side, because that's what truly belongs to you. You see, God's purpose is to give us his spiritual image through every situation, every single life and circumstance. You see what I could understand? It would be through my own actions that the needy man would teach me compassion. And through my own actions, he would teach me love and understanding. You see, I used to walk around telling everybody I knew Jesus, right? But I never, ever wanted to do the things that Jesus does. Please help me, Holy Ghost. You see, this message God gave me belongs to you. But you know why the world never heard of me? Because I've been making the Lord famous in the background for over 40 years and decreasing that he may increase. They tried to buy my word, but I had to tell them like this: you can leave an offering, give me a call. But some things and some people are just simply not for sale. So let these things be written in heaven. So let them be done.